Hey there. When was the last time that you were just in your life? Not performing it, not documenting it, not measuring it against someone else's or comparing it, but just in it, present, unhurried, grounded in yourself enough to actually feel it. Because I want you to notice something in you right now in this moment. I know that you clicked on this video, maybe it was the title, maybe it was instinct, but something in you resonated. And I don't think that that was necessarily by accident. I think that little pull you felt, that's part of you that already knows something needs to change. And that something in you has been trying to get your attention for a long time now. Here's what I've been noticing, not just culturally, but in the people I work with, in the clients who come to me after years of feeling like they've lost the thread of themselves. There's this exhaustion underneath everything. And when you dig into it, what you find is this: they've been outsourcing their interior life for so long, they don't know how to come home to themselves anymore. They don't know how to be themselves anymore. And honestly, I think a lot of us are there, even if we wouldn't say it quite that way. The question I want to leave you with is this: how much longer are you willing to stay lost? We live in a world that's architecturally designed to pull you outward, to scroll, to react, to consume, desire, compare, and repeat. I am not here to be preachy about screen time, because that's not the point. The point is what's underneath the scrolling, because nobody picks up their phone at 11 p.m. because they genuinely want to watch another person's morning routine. They pick it up because something inside them is restless or lonely or quietly asking a question they don't have language for yet. We're chasing something in all that noise, and the question is, what? What are we chasing? I think what we're actually chasing is the feeling of being fully known, of mattering, of being seen in a way that goes all the way down inside. And the cruel joke of sensationalism, of the scroll, the feed, the highlight reel, is that it imitates that feeling without ever actually delivering it. It gives you the emotional hit of connection without any of the rootedness, the reality of it. And so you need more of it faster because the last hit didn't land anywhere real. It's like eating food that has no nutritional value. You can consume a lot of it and still be starving. And here's the part nobody talks about: the longer you feed the hunger with the wrong thing, the less you can hear what you're actually hungry for. The noise becomes the norm. The restlessness becomes background static. And one day you look up and realize you haven't made a real decision about your own life in longer than you can even remember. You've just been reacting, responding, consuming, and quietly, incrementally disappearing. That is your life. And here's the thing that stops me every time I think about it. All of that longing, the hunger to be seen, to matter, to feel the weight and beauty of your own life, that was the part put there by God. It is written on your soul. It's not weakness or vanity. It's not something to manage or suppress. It's the hunger of what is holy. It's, in essence, your homing signal about who you are, who God created you to be. And most of us are being pointed in the wrong direction. We're looking out there at the person with the aesthetically curated life, the woman who seems to have figured out the thing you're still trying to figure out, the story that stirs something in you you can't quite name. And we're treating that as the destination. What if that stirring isn't pointing you toward them? What if it's pointing you back to yourself? Because here's what I believe with everything I have. When someone else's story moves you, when it wakes up something in you, it's not because they have something you don't. It's because they're reflecting something back to you that God is calling you to from inside. The longing, the capacity, the beauty you see in them. It's a mirror. It's showing you the shape of something that's already waiting in you, waiting to be figured out and lived. That's what it looks like to grow and mature in this life that God gave you. You were not made to be simply a spectator of glory. You were made to carry it. And I want you to let that land for a second. You were made to carry it. Because if it's true, it changes everything. It means the life you've been watching for is not someone else's to give you. It's yours to build. And the only thing standing between you and that life is whether you're willing to turn your attention inward long enough to find out who's actually here in you. And this is where I want to push back on something gently, but directly. We have conflated sensationalism with significance. We've started to believe that if something isn't extraordinary, it isn't worthy. That if your life doesn't look like a certain kind of story, it doesn't count as much. And that is a lie, a quiet, pervasive, deeply corrosive lie. And it has done a tremendous amount of damage to people's sense of self, to your sense of self. And here's what that lie costs you. It keeps you permanently adjacent to your own life, always watching, always comparing, wishing, waiting, but never quite stepping in, never quite claiming it for yourself. And the longer you live on the outside of yourself, the harder it becomes to imagine what it would feel like to be you. I want you to imagine it right now in this moment, just for a moment. What would it feel like to wake up tomorrow and already know, not from a reel, not from a quote, not from someone else's validation, but from somewhere deep and settled in yourself, that you are enough for this day? That you know what you value, what you need, what you'll stand for, and what you won't. That you don't have to spend today performing for anyone, including yourself. That's what identity work produces. And it's yours to take advantage of. You can do this, but it requires you to stop outsourcing and start inhabiting your own self. The life you're living right now, the one that feels too ordinary, too complicated, too unfinished, is the only life in which you can become the person you were created to be. Not someone else's story, not the version of you that exists in better circumstances. This one right here, right now. Becoming the actual sustained, unglamorous, deeply meaningful work of becoming requires that you be present in your own life, not watching it, but living it. That's an awakening. When you know who you are, not who you should be, not who someone else decided you were, but who God actually made you at the level of the soul, something shifts. You stop chasing. Not because you've transcended desire, but because you found something to stand on. You can be in the noise without being taken over by it. You can appreciate someone else's story without losing the thread of your own. You can be moved, inspired, even challenged without dissolving, without losing yourself. because your sense of self isn't borrowed anymore from someone else. It's yours, rooted and grounded. And from that place, something remarkable can happen in your relationships. When you show up to someone else without an emptiness, a desperation that needs to be filled, when you're not looking to them to confirm your worth or give you the identity you haven't yet built, you become someone who can actually be present to them, not performing a connection, not managing it, not clinging to it, not terrified of losing it, just there, steady, genuinely curious about them without losing you. That's the kind of relational presence that changes rooms, that changes families, that changes communities. And it doesn't come from having the right aesthetic or the most followers. It comes from the inside work, the unglamorous, sacred, difficult, deeply worth it work of finding out who you actually are and then choosing again and again to live from that place. I talk a lot about guardrails, and I want to bring that language in here because I think it fits. Guardrails on your own road aren't about restriction. They're about direction. They're about knowing your lane clearly enough that you can drive with confidence, even when the road is winding, even when it's dark, even when you can't see the edge of the cliff, even when you can see that someone else's lane looks smoother right now. Knowing who you are is your guardrail. When you know who you are and how you want to show up in the world, that is your lane. And one of the most powerful places that work happens is in learning to understand your own emotional interior, what you feel, what you need, where your edges are, what lights you up, what signals danger for you specifically, not in the abstract, in the particular, specific, beautifully singular experience of being you. That's what boundaries work is really about. It's not a script or a formula, although I can give you scripts and formulas. It's not a list of things you're allowed to say or not allowed to say. It's the work of becoming so fluent in yourself that you can navigate your own life with clarity, dignity, and something that looks a lot like freedom. Have you been waiting for the right moment to do this work? The right season, the right circumstances, the right level of crisis before you finally decide you're worth the investment? I'm here to tell you, gently and with full conviction, that moment is not coming. There is no version of your future where it gets easier to begin. There isn't. There's only right now. And the decision you make about who you want to be when you show up tomorrow. If you're ready, if something in you has been nodding along with me this whole time, if you feel that pull towards something more real than what the scroll has been giving you, I've built something for exactly this moment. The Boundaries Course. The Boundaries Course is a deep, structured experience that takes you from reactive to rooted, from scattered to anchored, from waiting for permission to live your life to being the kind of person who trusts yourself enough to just live it. The link is below. I'd love to see you on the other side of this. The most sensational thing about you is not your content, it's not your aesthetic, it's not even your story, as remarkable as that story is. It's you, the particular, irreplaceable, divinely fashioned and formed you. The one who was here before the algorithm and who will still matter when it's gone. The question was never whether you're worth finding. The question is whether you'll decide to look. Find yourself, keep yourself, and I'll see you again soon.